Hello and welcome to my channel. Today I have this fun reboot of an Explosion gift card box that I made last year. You can see the original on my blog, I'll link to that in the description below, but let's get started on this year's version made with the Beary Christmas DSP. All of the measurements for this project are noted in the description box below, so please check that out to prepare your pieces. For the outside of the box, you'll need 4 pieces of DSP and 4 pieces of coordinating cardstock. The DSP gets layered onto the cardstock with liquid glue, and you repeat that 4 times. For the inside, you'll need another 4 pieces of DSP and 4 pieces of cardstock. The DSP is adhered to the cardstock with an even border on 3 sides and a wider border at the bottom. Repeat that 4 times as well. There are 4 gift card pockets for the inside that are made from cardstock strips that are scored on 3 sides at 1/2 inch. I folded the flaps along the score marks and cut out the corners, and I also tapered the top of the short side. To that, I added DSP and strong adhesive, and you repeat that 4 times. So once you create those score marks, you'll have created a small rectangle that the DSP will fit inside perfectly with a 1/8 inch border all the way around. When creating a 3D project, it's always best to use super strong adhesive, so this is tear and tape that I'm adding. I also decorated the folded corners of my box. So for that, I took 4 pieces of DSP and cut them down the middle on a diagonal, so corner to corner. I had 1 piece remaining, which I layered onto a piece of cardstock. So here I'm just cutting those 4 pieces of DSP in half, corner to corner, and then I'm going to have 1 piece left over that I will just add to the cardstock to create the center. So to create the base, I took a 12 by 12 piece of cardstock and I scored it on all sides at 4 inches. Then I scored the 4 corners on the diagonal by lining up the edges and just burnishing with my bone folder. So I'm just kind of forming a triangle and then lining it up, and I'm just doing the 4 inches on the ends of each side to form the diagonal. So I'm repeating that on both halves of my triangle, just burnishing from the score mark out on each of the corner pieces. Once that was completed on all 4 corners, I'm just going to burnish all of my score marks, and you'll see how the box starts to form with the corners collapsing in on themselves. So just playing with those corners, layering them in and setting them flat, and the more you play with it, the more naturally it will collapse upon itself. Now I decorated the base with all of the prepared decorative pieces I created earlier. I started with the 4 full-sized pieces and just layering them on each of the 4 spots that our score marks created, with the blank spot of the cardstock in towards the center. That's where we're going to put the little pockets for the gift cards. And always best to use liquid glue for this part so that you have some wiggle room and some time to really make sure it's centered within those score marks. So I just folded it back up to keep manipulating that paper score mark. Next, I added the corner pieces. I did not mat the corner pieces because I didn't want them to get too bulky and cause problems when the box folds up. So they're just glued straight onto the diagonal triangle pieces that we created in each of the corners. And again, using liquid glue so that there's some time to manipulate and make sure it's all centered within the score marks there. So I'm continually folding along the score marks just to make sure that the box starts to fold in naturally. The more you play with it, the easier it will fold up for the recipient. So you really want to give it a good few folds and scores as you go along the way, just to help form the box naturally. I added the fifth piece to the middle center, which serves a dual purpose of strengthening the bottom of the box and adding some stability, while also looking pretty when the lid comes off. And finally, I added the gift card pockets to each of the 4 panels, lining them up across the bottom of the cardstock mat after I formed the little pocket with the tape. I folded up from the long bottom piece first and then folded the sides in on top of that. That just helps the gift card slide in nicely and not meet any resistance. To decorate the outside of my box, I flipped the base over and added the prepared panels to the 4 box sides. I left the outside corners blank, again to keep it from being too bulky and interfering with the formation of the box. So the outside comes together very quickly. It's just those 4 decorative panels. The lid is made with a piece of 7 1/8" square white cardstock that is scored on all 4 sides at 1.5 inches. After burnishing the score lines, I cut the corners into flaps to form the 3D lid, and then I reinforced those score lines again just to help them fold nicely. I added strong adhesive to the flaps and then used that to form my lid, ensuring the edges were straight as I went along. So again, you want to use some pretty strong adhesive for this part because the lid's going to be coming on and off the box. You want it to be super strong and make sure it holds its shape. So forming all 4 corners, and then I'm going to test it onto my box just to make sure that I haven't made it too small in case there's any adjustments that need to be done before I decorate the lid. To decorate the lid, I have some DSP rectangles that I'm layering onto a piece of coordinating cardstock, and then I'm just adding that to each of the 4 sides of the lid with liquid adhesive that helps hide the seam of forming the lid with those flaps and also puts a nice finished look on the sides of the box. So I'm repeating that on all 4 sides. You want to have a nice finished look all the way around when you're making a 3D box like this, so that someone receiving it looks like a present from all directions. I also have a square of DSP that I'm layering onto a piece of cardstock, and that's going to go onto the top of my lid, finishing it from the top down as well. So the final result is this bright and fun gift box. I added a ribbon and a gift tag to decorate the box, and inside the box explodes with 4 gift cards and some candy for the recipient. There are a lot of pieces to this project, but it actually comes together really quickly and easily and has a great impact. Instead of gift cards, you could stuff the pockets with cash, and you could add a small present to the middle instead of the chocolates as well. I hope you enjoyed this. Happy crafting!